The next one, which is I'm kind of going kind of here and there, but let's go this one. So this is now a lot of you, I'm not sure if you've heard of this brand name's called Tushy Ottoman, but there's another brand name called the Squatty Potty. Has anyone actually heard of the Squatty Potty? That was probably the original potty seat um, type of product, I guess. So basically, it's just step stool to help you go to the toilet when you go to the toilet by lifting up your legs. And so Squatty Potty, this particular brand, and I'm going to kind of bring them up because I am referring to them. But Squatty Potty they were the very first one product e-commerce business, really. They did about $50 million. They went on Shark Tank. And this was their product. This was the original. There you go. That's all it was. It was literally just a plastic step stool that you could buy from China for $3, right? And they ended up selling 50 million or $60 million in their first year or two. And the reason why they did that was because they were the first ones to actually show the science behind the actual product, right? So step stools, they've been sold for a very long time. But basically, what they did in their video, and they had a really great marketing video, but let's see if they show it here. Here we go. So your colon in action, right? And they basically showed it how when you actually squatting, there you go, right? So it actually relieves the colon. It helps you to actually go to the toilet. You don't strain as much and things like that. And so they basically just brought the science into the actual step stool. So there's a lot of people that were doing it. I mean, in Asia, for example, they squat when they go to the toilet. A lot of the times, depends where you are, of course. But in terms of people have been using step stools for a little while. So they just showed the science behind it. And by them showing the science behind sitting on a step stool, they basically created this whole, evolution of step stool, users going to the toilet. So that was really brilliant on their part. And I think I kind of encourage if anyone has a product where it hasn't been explained properly, use the science behind it. If there is some type of science behind your product, then really use it. I mean, if you think about dog collars, right? And if you have a dog collar that doesn't, itch, for example, anything like that, then just go into detail about that one feature of your actual product and how it actually, with science behind that feature, or if it's anti-rash product or something like this, right? So I thought that was actually brilliant from the Squatty Potty half on behalf of them actually. And they had like a unicorn doing a poop and things like that. It was kind of weird. But yeah, it's super, super cool. So basically, if you looked at this and you thought, well, Squatty Potty, they've done that to death. They went on Shark Tank, they got an investment. I think they got an investment. Um, you wouldn't think I should get into this niche, right? So a lot of people wouldn't get into this niche. They'll be like, yeah, it's done, not possible to do, but you can, right? And that's what these guys did, Tushy Ottoman. So basically, they saw that there was actually a demand for these squatty potties. Everyone calls them squatty potties now, and step stools. But basically, they just brought out a different spin of this actual step stool. Now they know there's a demand there, so they're like, well, we know there's a demand. Let's just create something that looks completely unique and sell it to the market, right? And they do that. So again, and this is another good example of having a product that has demand and just going in there and basically doing something a little bit different. And your brand doesn't need to have a lot of products. It can have the same product, but you have variations to that product, right? Like what these guys have done here. They have the wooden one and they have the white one. And they probably sold a lot of these at pre-order also, right? I wouldn't be surprised. But I thought it was very, very interesting, to say the least. There you go. So they're showing a little bit about how it works. And so what they've done is basically copied the model a little bit of Squatty Potty, and they're also showing the science behind it, right? Which is quite cool. So, and I always kind of wondered why Squatty Potty never got into the kids um, niche. We actually, our brand Uni Boo Boo, were featured with them on an influencer. They got it at the same influencer that we have in America, which is quite cool. But I was kind of always wondered why they didn't get into the kitty niche, and they just started getting into the kitty niche now also. So there you go, you got it on there. So it says here, there you go, Squatty Potty, Shark Tank, featured on Dr. Oz, the whole, usually these ads are shit. There you go, someone said that. Too good. So Cassandra, you can do that with your chickens and see how that comes up when they're laying an egg, and you can talk about science behind the blue eggs. Mr. Whippy doing a number two. Yes, exactly, mate. All right, so let's move on. Let's move on. The next one is, what do we have here? All right, so we went over the Band-Aids, which I thought was super cool. We went over Squatty Potty, Tushy Ottoman. Then we have the business a name generator. Oh yeah, so this is another one here. This is called Looker. Looker. And again, kind of a lot of the times we kind of have this idea of a product, but we can never really visualize potentially what this idea could actually look like. And a couple of times I've mentioned before where you can basically just remodel other brands. You know, you see a brand like the Band-Aid brand, for example, and if you know your product is targeting the exact same age group, right? Then what you can do is you can get inspiration from their branding and their colors and their website template, right? Don't copy, but basically get inspiration from that. Know that if they're using color tones like this, then really you should probably be doing that too, because they've spent a lot of money in testing, advertising, and they know who their target market is clearly. So we kind of want to do something very similar, right? And I think it's very, very important to do that, or else you'll be testing a lot with your own money. So I think it's important. So that's it. That's it, Nick. Exactly.